Alright, this is the med kit from Subnautica that I modeled, and I'm going to walk you through the texturing. First of all, I'm going to do the UV unwrapping. So I've got these knobs here. I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm not doing any seams or anything. I'm just going to go U unwrap. And I'm going to get this. I want a margin of 0.03. I'm going to scale them down. The textures are going to be so simple that we don't have to do too much work here. I'm going to select all the other parts, making sure I don't have any subdivision on or anything. And I'm just going to do Smart UV Project, the margin margin 0.03. And we're going to get this. Now, this piece here, I'm going to select and go Control L. That's the back piece. It's going to be pretty much a solid color, so I'm going to scale that down. And this part here, Control L, is the underside of the front. I don't need very much UV space for that as well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select these pieces and Control L. And that's just the sides and the back. They don't need to be very big either. So I can cut down on that. I'm going to select this piece and so move it over a little bit. What I do want to do is I also want to take these pieces here, as much of them as I can get. Just little chunky things. They're not that important. Just move them down there. And okay, but I want to focus on this handle because I'm going to be putting a cross on it. I'm going to move that out. Hang on a second here. Just these ones here, just these pieces here. I'm going to take those and move them out. I'm going to make that bigger because I want more UV space on that to put across so that it's relatively clear, not too blurry. This piece here, I'm going to be putting a black color on here compared to the rest of this, and I want it to look relatively clean. So I'm going to Control L to get it all. I'm going to move that. I'm going to rotate 90, and I'm going to increase the size of that. I want that nice and big so that I get a nice transition. All this stuff can just go somewhere. I don't care where it goes. Just get out of here. We do that. Let's take these, pull them there for the moment. Now, I still have the knobs, so I'm going to select, let's get everything. Okay, and these knobs, again, like I said, they don't have to be that big. This one can go in here, and this one can go here, and that leaves me with this stuff here. And we could try that. You know, it's not completely optimized, but it's so simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export that and bring it into Substance Painter. Alright, so there's the med kit. I've got one material. It's all body. And that's all I'm going to need. I'm going to bake the mesh maps at 2K. Alright, it's done. It's looking okay. So here we go. Very easily. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to search for that plastic I've been using. This one here. I'm going to leave it at that color for the moment. I'm going to add a fill. And here I'm going to change the color to black. Just like that. I'm going to come back to the mask. I'm going to come over here, polygon fill. I'm going to choose that. I'm going to have a look at that later. And then I come over here and I'm going to switch over to mesh fill. I want all the knobs and I want the back. Now let's zoom in here. See the way this is relatively smooth, the black? That's why I increased the size of that. The knobs are just fine the way they are. Okay, so let's move on. I may not stick with that blue, although that looks kind of cool. I'm just leaving that there for now. Another fill layer with a black mask. Change this color to red. Alright, come back to the mask. Polygon fill. It's actually mesh fill. And I get the handle. Okay. Now I'm going to come up a layer, just a regular paint layer. I want just color on here. And I want it white. We're going to zoom in. And we're going to put a cross on here. I'm going to come down to this shape cross. And I'm going to increase the border width all the way to 1. And zoom in, increase the size of this, and click. It's a little bit blurry. If I was to go back here and I increase the size of this, I would get a slightly sharper effect. But really, you know, if you just look from there, it's going to look just fine. There's only one more thing that I need to do on here, and that's to put an emissive material on here. So I'm on the body material. I come up here, there's no emissive channel, so I'm going to add an emissive channel right there. And I'm going to create a new layer, and on that layer I want just emissive. So I'm going to alt click there, change the color from black to whatever color you want for your emission. Let's say something like that for the time being. Okay, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to change my alpha to circle. I'm going to come down to this one and squeeze so I get a nice circle here. I'll zoom in, lower my size, and go roughly right in the middle. And I'll do another one there. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here. I'm going to bring the emissive intensity up a little bit. And here I'm going to turn on post effects, glare, and inside the glare I'm going to change this to bloom. I'll reduce the luminance a little bit. And that is it. Now this is looking a little bit faceted, whatever. I could put the subdivision on back in Blender, and then at this point I can come over here back to my main layer, and I could say, you know what, for color, let's go for something like that, or maybe the typical kind of white. All right, I can also come in here and maybe turn on anti-aliasing. It might make it look a little bit better. That's it. The only other thing would be to export it to Blender. I won't bother with that right now. Obviously you could easily do this in Blender to do these materials, but I just enjoy using Substance Painter. I'm not putting any dirt or grunge. That's the end of that. So cool. All right, so we'll bring that into a scene. I'll probably put all these assets together and create a little room at some point. So I'm going to go on and come up with something else to model for you. So we'll see you then.